this is Roy here for a toy review of DC Universe Classics Firestorm. This is figure 1 of wave 2, which is the Gorilla Grodd wave. I'm starting here because the amount of times I've tried to do reviews for the first wave and screwed them up in the production process and editing, I really don't feel like talking about those figures again. So hopefully wave 2 is going to be different. Alright, so as you can see, it's not just one figure, it's actually two. This was the variant that came out afterwards. Originally they started shipping the Ronnie Raymond version, the classic version of Firestorm, and then after that they started bringing out the Jason Rush version. So if you bought it early, you got Ronnie. You bought it late, you got Jason. I'll start with the Ronnie Raymond here. Probably my favourite of the two. Has a pretty excellent head sculpt. The flame nice and translucent up the top. Pretty classic costume design. All the atomic symbol that wraps around the back as well. Really bright yellow with a lot of wash in all the abs and under the pecs. He has the really puffy sleeves, which is quite retro for his costume, and he was the classic version. So he has a couple of accessories, as I don't know, they're kind of cool. They fit the character, but they're actually these little atom symbols. They do pop off, so that's all it is there. Jason comes with exactly the same. You can take them off, but I don't know. If I take them off, I'll probably lose them, and they're not awesome, but they're okay. Pants are sort of designed in a tight way. Red lines on the yellow pelvic area and yellow boots. Now, if you haven't seen a DCUC toy before, and I'll go through the articulation, it's pretty standard. They have a shoulder joint, a shoulder ball, I should say, that bends up and down and twists all around. They have a bend in the bicep there, which is different on this character because a lot of them are wearing sort of tight uniforms and the sculpt's very muscle based, but because he's got this baggy shirt on, it's pretty cool. It means he's got a unique arm sculpt, I suppose. It's not reused, and a lot of the DCUC sculpts are reused. So bends at the bicep, elbow bends, and doesn't twist there, and the wrist twists at the wrist. Bends at the waist, bends at the stomach, so you can sort of expand his ribs, give him sort of more leaning back poses. Thighs bend out and forward, and knees bend with a twist on the thigh, and the ankle moves forward. It's very bright with the yellow, forward and back. Paint looks awesome. Wave 2 is great. I love this wave, especially for the variants. Now I'll set Ronnie aside, and we'll go to Jason, the more modern of the two. Be able to point out some differences. The flame on the top, still translucent, but a very different shape. And this one is actually a gradient from a dark red up to a really light yellow, so that's awesome. You can see the dark skin, more for character, so very different heads on the two, side by side there. Costume's different, it's a lot simplified, doesn't have the same sort of detail in costume, and without a comic book in front of me here, I couldn't say for sure whether that's 100% accurate. Same sort of arms, gloves are different, got the white lines on them, and the pants, the boots have these yellow outlines on them. Like I said, between the two, Ronnie's probably my favourite. It's just a character I enjoyed reading a lot more. He started to come into his own actually just before he died, I think, in the comic books. But otherwise, yeah, articulation is the same. For the most part, the character design is the same, but there is some pretty good differences that worthy purchasing both, I think. There are only a few variants I decided to buy both copies of just because they were different characters that wear the same or are the same superhero. But with that, I'll end this review. Look out for the rest of my Series 2 DCUC figure reviews. Next, I think, is Aquaman. So stay tuned.